Weekend nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry icy's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. The CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Tronopole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave. And the Ice Cave is brought to you by Priority Lawn and Landscaping. I went golfing today, and I'm looking at this nice green grass and everything. Well, you know what? That'd be kind of cool to have in my yard. You know who can take care of that for you? Priority Lawn and Landscaping. They also take care of your shrubbery, your trees, your flower beds, anything. If you want to just do it yourself, you want mulch or rock or anything yourself, Priority Lawn and Landscaping has it. Give them a call at 513-430-6114. That's 513-430-6114. You can also follow them on Facebook, and I recommend following them on Facebook because you can see the videos and pictures of the jobs that they have done. So when you contact Johnny, either call him or message on Facebook. Tell them you heard about it from Sports with Strawberry Ice. What is up to everybody in the chat? We got Brad in there. We got Paul Payne in there. We got Tony Blazin. We got like 3 people in the chat. It's like it's Friday, and I don't know, like the bananas are in town or something. I guess everybody's like more interested in that than me right now. But anyway, let's see what's going on here. The Fun Football Friday. Bengals Minicamp was wrapped up. Shamar Stewart left early. Trey Henderson is not signed. But you know what? Everybody else looks pretty damn good. So I got 2 guests today. One, he's kind of known as a hot taker. If you ever watch him on Malik Wright, he spits information out. Just fire, 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 fire. Now, he's not Money Mac. I call him, what do I call him? Money Mick? I don't remember what I call him. Let's just call him Evan now. I forgot the nickname I had for you. I had a nickname for you. I forgot what it was.
I think it was Money Mick. That's ringing a bell, man. I'm still remembering, man.
Money McPhillips. That's it. Yeah, Money McPhillips. That's what I called you. There you go.
Yeah. No, man. I remember that day, and they started to announce the pick, and they said, hey, with this pick, we're going to select Evan and I was already standing up ready to go.
Like, yes!
And I'm like, so close. So
like,
close.
I got drafted, and I don't even know how.
Next time.
Well, let's get to another guy. This is the second time he's been on my show. The first time, I didn't think he knew what he was jumping in on but Kevin, the producer at the Local 12, hooked me up with Yanni. Yanni was on location. He'd only been on the job for maybe a week, something like that. And Kevin, who's the producer at Channel 12, was like, hey, go jump on my boys, the podcast. He's like, okay. So now he's a little bit more prepared for what he's getting into. If you guys have not checked him out yet, he's Yanni. And he's going to have to say his last name because I mess it up every time. So I'm just going to call him Yanni, but he's for Local 12 Sports. Here's Yanni.
I think you're 0 for 2 on the last name. I think the same thing happened last time I was here.
I didn't even try this time. I'm like, I did, and I hate that because my last name's Trinipole. So I hate messing people's last names up. So Yanni, I'll let you say your last name so everybody knows it.
Tragellis. There we go.
That's not that hard. I should be able to remember that. Just call you Yanni T. Yanni T, what up?
I'll take it. Just let's erase the Tragellis from there, then it'll just be T.
There you go. I like it. All right, boys. So we are a month away, a little over 5 weeks away from training camp getting started and football season rolling around. Yanni, you and me were talking on the phone the other day about Shamar leaving. Now, this whole thing is, I'm not going to say get blown way out of proportion, but it shouldn't be this big of a deal. We should get this done. This is ridiculous. What's your thoughts on Shamar leaving yesterday, and what's that mean? Are they going to get him signed before training camp? We hope they are.
There was that quick moment when you realized he wasn't there where I was like, oh man, like this is going bad.
Right.
And then I kind of sat back and thought about it for a second. I was like, well, he's been there throughout the entire time, been in all the meetings. Everyone said how good and attentive he's been in all those meetings. And then I just kind of thought about the fact that, well, right after practice yesterday, players just left the building, went in the locker room, kind of packed their things up and pieced out.
Right.
The guys were on flights probably within 2 hours of practice being done. So to me, it was kind of like he just said, I don't want to stand around for an hour here in front of all the cameras and everything. I'll just jump on vacation a little bit earlier. Was that the right thing to do? To be determined when this all plays out. We'll find out. Hindsight is always 20/20, but I feel like that was just his reasoning. Just why am I going to go out there and have all the news cameras like we are? We always have our shots of him standing on the sideline. I say every single day. Shamar Stewart still watching practice from the side. So that's what I think it was all about. I don't really think there was anything crazy. And I still, from what he said on Tuesday when he talked, he was hopeful the deal would be done by the end of the week. It's Friday now. Still no deal yet. So we'll have to wait and see where this all goes.
Exactly. Evan, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, man. Look, I can hear things from both sides where, hey, Shamar doesn't want to be the one who is setting this precedent, who feels like, hey, you haven't asked this of the other guys. Why am I the one you're asking it of? And also I can understand that, hey, this is something that puts him at greater risk of, being financially insecure or just not getting the money that he is supposed to be guaranteed. So I can understand the player's sense of, hey, if you want me to play ball like that, you're going to have to make some sort of concession, whether, if we remember before, the holdup was that the Bengals, there was the injury waiver, but also the Bengals were not wanting to pay out as quickly as they were wanting. And it's like guaranteed money. Again, I'm not Brad Spielberger or Andre Parada when it comes to cap stuff, but I do try and keep my ear to the ground. Right. And if guaranteed money is already going into escrow to be paid out, what does it matter to you if it's paid out of escrow now or in the next month or 4 months from now in 3 different installments? So it's like, I hear Shamar saying, hey, I'm not the one. You didn't ask this of others and you're asking me to do something. And we don't know for sure that the Bengals are really making a lot of concessions and ceding a lot of ground in other ways to compensate for that. We know them. I would venture to wildly speculate that they probably haven't. That they are more likely anytime someone exercises their leverage that they have to dig their heels in further and say, take it or leave it, because now that it's public, we don't want to look like we got taken to the cleaners. We don't want to look like we're weak. We want to look like the best negotiators.
Which they always want to win every, like he says, every argument, or they want to win every contract. And Yanni, I know you've only been here for a year, but you probably heard about it, the Bengals. If they, in my opinion, if they would want to win a Lombardi as badly as they want to win every contract, we'd have like 6 of them by now.
Well, that's the thing too, is you can't be, hey, we're being aggressive, we're, going all in on winning, and then be sitting there with your star defensive end unsigned. At the same time, you're picking a fight with your first-round draft pick, which again takes me back to, if you're the Bengals and you really want to get this in and start that precedent, maybe you do it with a prospect like Dax Hill when you have Jesse Bates and Von Bell already starting, and you don't need the guy to come in and play 700-800 snaps before you even consider that your other starting edge is not wanting to take the field. It would have already been an issue to do when you were relying on him to be a starter, let alone you have nothing behind there. And so that just is the real head scratcher for me from the Bengals standpoint is, hey, you want to make this, you want to get this precedent in there, you want to do this language that 10, 12, 15 other teams do, fine. But you bet your ass that the Eagles are putting more money up front or are willing to make concessions to get things done. We've seen them be creative in other aspects. You fail to see the Bengals do that constantly. And like Shamar said, this is not just with him. This is with Trey Hendrickson. This is with Jesse Bates. This is with T. Higgins. This was with Jamar Chase for a while. Like it ends up being every star player that should be so easy to get a deal worked out for becomes a headache and becomes pulling teeth and becomes just a nasty process that wears away any goodwill that they've got from the early years when they used to say, hey, maybe we don't sign free agents outside the big market all the time, but hey, we take care of our own. Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, Andrew Whitworth, all these guys were about as easy as it could get to 1 year out, 2 years out remaining on your contract. Be smart, be forward thinking, and extend them early so you can distribute some of that guaranteed money into those early years that you already have them under contract. You can manipulate the cap in your favor so much that you don't have to get the number you want. You can manipulate things to get the number you want. And that's the frustrating part of it all for me right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. You got anything you want to add to that, Yanni, before we move on to hopefully some good news here?
Well, the thing for me is, and you see it all around the league every year. I think last year it was CeeDee Lamb with his contract sitting out camp, and then right before the season starts, he gets the deal. We see it every single year, and this is probably what's going to end up happening with Trey Hendrickson is the teams just hold out, and they think that the players are going to bend the knee and come to their side. And then once it gets to that Friday before that first game on Sunday, the realization starts to hit that we're going to be putting out a half-rate team.
Right.
And then the deal just magically happens. And it's almost like I just wonder, you never really see the players give in and take the lower rate deal. I know Trey did it with his last contract where after a couple of months, he finally took the short-term deal. And that's why I think he's true to his word that he's not taking the field without a long-term contract this time. I think he's all in. He's set in his ways with what he wants to do, in my opinion. And it's just I think it'll just be something with the Bengals where finally 2 days before the season, and I believe Burrow's extension was that Thursday night, opening night of the season.
Yep.
Same thing on that. His situation wasn't nearly what this was.
But another one that didn't need to take as long as it did. It's just the easy stuff is never easy for them. And that's the part that just drives you crazy. And you brought up with Trey, man, where he finally did take that lesser deal. And if he's to be believed, it's because the Bengals allegedly told him, hey, you're going to be next. We just need you to sign this for the temporary time, and then we'll take care of you. And I'm sure they're probably thinking, well, he's not going to go out there and be the best edge defender in the NFL, right?
Well, they probably also didn't think that the edge market was going to jump up to $40 million too. That's where Richard Skinner has said this. Local 12 on his own podcast. I think it was on Trags podcast. I can't remember. He goes, which I agree with this. The Browns are stupid for paying Miles Murphy as much as they did. The Raiders are stupid for paying Garrett. I mean, they're great players, but they set the market for no reason. And that's where the Bears going, we were thinking like 28, maybe 30, 40. No, we're not going to 40. That's to me. And that's where, again, we go back to if they were proactive and getting it done early and they could set the market, which would be smarter, it might help out. Because, I mean, I'm so happy they signed Jamar and T, but all they did was cost themselves more money if they would have signed it 2 years ago. I don't know. It's annoying. Let me get to the $5 super chat here from Dustin. Appreciate you. Hate to say it, boys. The money is getting bigger and the contracts are getting more complex across the league. That's going to happen more and more. I agree with that. That's kind of what we're saying. Yanni, I'll ask you this. I personally will be surprised if Trey misses games because I don't think that's going to help. Like, say they get to the point where they're not. He knows they're not going to sign a contract. They're not going to come to agreement. Well, he needs to come in my opinion, as a 30-year-old guy, come in here and prove again that he is that 17.5 sack guy and needs to come out in here and have a good year to move on to get a bigger contract. If he sits out, which I think the Michigan says like 4 games, I think it is, and then Beyond that, it won't count for a full year. That's where I'm like, I don't know if sitting out games is in his best interest. I mean, do you think he'll actually sit out games until they sign him?
Well, it's tough, right? This is one reason that players want to get the franchise tag taken care of, is because players have so little leverage when it comes to these scenarios, right? Because you don't get freed, like you said, if you lose out on that accrued year, right? And then you're still stuck in the situation you don't want to be, right? And even if your contract ends, they can still get you for the franchise tag, and then you can't do it.
I've said that about Trey. He can play the contract out, and they can tag him. I don't think they will, but they can.
Again, it's seeming like it's funny, the double standard of the players need to be more agreeable in these negotiations, and maybe not, play such hardball or take things out in the media when that's the only leverage they have, right? So they're exercising their leverage. But then for the Bengals, it's like, well, like we don't want to spend all that money, and we're, it drives me nuts, man. It does. Because like you said, they said the contracts are going to get more complex. They are going to get more expensive. So what do you do to help with that? You preemptively extend people. You start that conversation with 2 years left on the deal. Because obviously, again, we go back to, who on the defense are you paying besides Trey Hendrickson in the next 2 years right now? Because it's going to be one of Cam Taylor-Britt or Dax Hill, who are not getting top of the market corner money.
Well, Dax is got the extension. So
so you're sitting here and going, who else? Because Myles Murphy has done absolutely nothing to make you think he's going to be that guy. So you're already going to have this money sitting around. You've already got almost, I believe, a $30 million discrepancy between what you're paying the offense versus the defense. You might as well use that money instead of having it sitting there, and maintain one of your best players and keep other people happy. And if you do that right now, this is not concrete, but back of the napkin math. Let's say he gets the 3-year extension that he wants, $90 million three-year extension, right? Let's say $60 million of that is guaranteed. He's on the books for $18 million this year. Okay, let's dump $15 million of that signing bonus into this year. So he gets his $30 million a year this year. That's great. But now you have the ability to make and massage those cap numbers for the coming years to where, hey, all of our guaranteed money for him will be in this year and next year. The last 2 years of the deal, maybe they have $5-6 million of guaranteed money. And guess what? Right. If he gets through those first 2 years and he's still playing at a great level, you have him for a steal. And if he doesn't, you're already the Bengals. You don't guarantee money past 2 years unless it's Joe Burrow and kind of Jamar Chase, right? So you're not losing anything if he hits that age 34, 35 season and isn't good, and you need to cut him. Maybe you lose $5-6 million. But dear God, we're talking about $5 or $6 million to billionaires. Again, the difference between a million seconds and a billion seconds is 11 weeks to 30 years. That is the scale we're talking about. And they are literally arguing. It's like Bill Gates trying to argue over you owe him $10. Like, he probably wipes his ass with $10. Like, what are we doing here?
Man, I wish I could do that. That'd be awesome. Yanni, what's your thoughts on it?
Sorry, just the last thing I wanted to say. NFL franchises, you've seen them go from 2015 when the Panthers sold for $2 billion to $6 billion when the Commanders sold a year or two ago, right? What other kind of investment or piece of asset can you have that matures that much in a 5-year time, that you have a $2 billion value to a $6 billion value? And the contract money for the TV deals is coming up in 2029, which is why all the Eagles keep kicking all their money down there. You have this influx of cash. Be smarter about it. You are going to accrue in value, especially you're going to have more opportunities for partnerships. You're going to have more opportunities to sell very small percentages of the team ownership. We're talking 2 or 3% for hundreds of millions of dollars. Because if you're telling any type of investment group that they can have $100 million investment and get that to grow 4 or 5 times in only 4 or 5 years, where else can you put your money and get that kind of return on investment that you feel good about?
Exactly.
So what are we talking about here? Again, small millions of dollars in all of these scenarios when there are ways to make hundreds in only a small amount of time by just owning the asset. It drives me nuts. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Go ahead, Yanni. What do you got?
That was some of the best financial advice I think I've ever gotten in my life.
Best of the Bengals, man.
So for me, when you were asking, what do I think plays out? I like to look at worst case scenarios. I think that's just naturally where my mind jumps to. And where I've kind of sat on this since T and Jamar were both signed and Trey was left to go, because going into the offseason, I thought it was going to be Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, and T goes elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where my mindset was right when the season ended. And then
Yeah.
when they both signed those contracts together, I was like, well, here we go. Now we're in for some fun. And so where I kind of look at this, as soon as the schedule came out, I do think if there's no long-term extension by really the start of training camp, I'll say, if July 23rd, if there isn't a contract, I think there won't be a deal through the end of training camp and into the regular season. And then I'm looking at the schedule right now. I think he would sit for Cleveland. I think he would sit for Jacksonville. And then if he's not signed by Minnesota, I think the Vikings offense is able to tear up the Bengals, and that'll be a high-scoring shootout in Minnesota. And then I think that will cause the Bengals to really start to scram and come back and be like, all right, maybe we should get him that long-term deal before Denver comes on that Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no deal by training camp, the start of training camp on July 23rd, where my mind has sort of been is he'll sit out 3 games, and then the deal will happen, and he would come back week 4 I think he would play that week if they signed him even on Thursday. Yeah. I think he would still come in. I mean, he's a guy, you don't have to worry about him coming in out of shape. It's kind of the same thing with Jamar Chase, where he was still probably working out even harder than he would have been at training camp because he had no limitations by league rules or anything like that. He could do 2-a-days when he was training on his own last offseason. He could really do whatever he wanted. And I think that's part of the reason why he had the year that he had. I think he was working himself a lot more than he would have been under the NFL rules.
Exactly. All right, so enough of the contract crap. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of minicamp. And I love what Joe said. Jackpot brought it up that this is the first year that he hasn't had to break somebody in, take somebody in under his wing and get him up to speed, say, all right, I'm thinking this is where my head's at. When I see this, you should do this. Well, he goes, we can hit the ground running. The way this offense was clicking at the end of last year, these guys can hit the ground running. Long as this offensive line plays better, which I got a feeling it's going to. I just think our tackles are going to be healthy. I love Fairchild. Other guard, we'll see, but I think that they're going to be more athletic and they got a deeper offensive line than we've had before. But just their offensive weapons in general. And then Burton coming in, sound like he's got his head on screwed on straight. This offense can be unbelievable. So this defense doesn't have to be a juggernaut. Now, if it can get up to 15th or 16th where it was when we made our Super Bowl run, that's great. But the way this offense is, that it just – I don't think there's a defense out there that scares me that this offense can't take advantage of, because you already got Joe, Jamar, and T. They're all healthy. They're all happy. You got Burton. You got Chase Brown, Mike G. I mean, it's literally a plethora of offensive weapons that any NFL team would love to have. And the Bengals got it in droves. So that's where it's going to be. This gives you a better chance that we're going to start off, hopefully, to a 1-1, 2-1 start. That would be great, because I know they're talking about that. What's your guys' thoughts on how this offense can start and how much they're going to have to lean on this offense heavily, and how much is that going to weigh on the Bengals or hurt them? Go ahead. Let's go Yanni first and then Evan. Go ahead, Yanni.
Well, I will add one thing. This is sleeper, I think, of the year. Maybe the hot take. It's not going to be early on in the season, but by week 10, week 9-ish, I think Chase Brown, Taj Brooks will be one of the best, a top 5 combo of running backs in the National Football League. I'm watching Taj Brooks at minicamp and OTAs, and he doesn't look like a late round draft pick the way he moves, and what he did at Texas Tech. He was a monster over all that time. And I think there was I think Pitcher said it, Dan Pitcher said it after the draft, or maybe in one of his press conferences after practice. But he said any other year, Taj Brooks is a mid-round guy, maybe second, third round. And the Bengals just kind of got lucky that he was where he was. And I completely agree with that. I think they can be, with the development that Chase Brown has had, and this year looking like he's going to be a top-tier running back in the National Football League, and I think Taj Brooks can just hit the ground running as a number 2 and do it all for them. So that just adds on to the offense. Second thing I want to say is, you were talking about the offensive line. I am in love with Scott Peters. I'm watching him work, and he is a machine. Like, just watching him in the drills.
He's crazy, dude.
I'm like, this offensive line might be coming for some heads this year. They might be.
I'm talking about.
I don't know what they're going to do yet. I'm too small to know too much about the offensive line. I never played that, but I mean, I think there's going to be a huge turnaround with that offensive line, and really Joe Burrow might have protection for the first time in his career so far. So that's going to be exciting to see. But we were talking about this yesterday. I don't want to see Jamar Chase win a Triple Crown again.
No, right.
I don't want to see Joe Burrow set franchise records with passing yards and touchdowns again this season. I want to see more running game. I want to see it spread out more to Jermaine Burton, who's looking a lot more in it so far. You know, we'll see what happens. I think last year it was sort of he was a star at every single level that he's played at. And he comes into the NFL now, and he's just another face in the wide receiver room. And I think maybe he wasn't ready for that. And now he has good support. So I think he's going to be a lot more prepared on a week-to-week basis. If he doesn't get 5 targets, you know, you're not going to lose him.
Right.
And you're not going to have to worry about anything with that. I think he has a lot better support system in the locker room with that. So, I mean, I'm excited to see this offense. I think this could be a different look of what it was last year, but still as explosive and as good as what it was.
And don't forget about Yoshi too, because Joe did talk about Yoshi too. He add him into the mix. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, man, I think this offense can definitely achieve new heights, and I think Yanni made a really good point there that it's not going to be built on the back of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase just doing everything all the time, right? Hopefully Jamar and T can have a little bit more time on the field together, because when those two are out there together, they just thrive. I mean, just all the T. Higgins back shoulder throws and stick routes and just inside, just small in routes. There's just little 10-yarders that he's just coming across the middle with that big body, man. Like, it frees him up so much when Jamar's out there with him. We were all pleasantly surprised to see Yoshi Voss take a bigger step in the red zone, which I'd always said he was going to be very good there. You could see from the Arizona game in his rookie year when he came in and kind of did the scramble drill with Joe Burrow that he had that innate feel for space, that chemistry with Joe Burrow was going to be able to be a threat when things condense in the red zone. I think the next step for him is going to be more reliable in the 20s. I believe he had something like an 18% drop rate, somewhere around there. Don't quote me exactly on that. It was the last time I looked. But it was not ideal. This was only on, 40, 50, 60 targets, not anything crazy. He's not dropping 12, 15 passes out there, right?
Right.
You just want to see a little more consistency in between the 20s and being involved. He was always there for, one big, 20-yard play every game, it seems, but then he would kind of disappear after that. Mike Gesicki really kind of came along on the end of the season, kind of filled in that wide receiver 3 spot. And you've heard even the coaching staff say themselves that they've figured out how better to use Mike Gesicki, and also the chemistry is developing more between Mike Gesicki and Joe Burrow to be able to go off script or deviate from route patterns that they already have agreed upon if they see something similarly and they want to sit in soft spots of the zone. The way that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were able to do so many times, I think you're going to see a lot more of that from Mike Gesicki, from Joe Burrow. And then obviously Chase Brown being involved in that, having Taj Brooks back there. I think he's like a supercharged Samaje Perine. Really,
and you get Samaje back. The beard's back.
And I like Taj Brooks a lot. I mocked him a little bit in the last rounds when we were doing our draft war room shows. And just a really good do-it-all back. He doesn't have the explosion, the long speed, but he absolutely has great contact balance, does a great job of getting north-south when he realizes that he needs to get north and that everything's kind of closing up on him a little bit. Good jump cut, nice lateral agility still. Like, he is great at the way Samaje Perine, when he filled in, would just catch the check down, fall forward for 2 or 3 yards, right? And just every time he was about to get tackled, you see that little jump forward where he's just trying to get that extra yard or two. It's that on a consistent basis of every touch that he has that adds up to being an extra 15, 20 yards that could be the difference in a game sometimes. So that's definitely on my mind. It is going to have to be won and lost on the backs of the offense, especially if you're going to have Trey Hendrickson sitting games, especially if you're going to have Myles Murphy. It's so tough for Myles Murphy. Man.
Hey, Myles Murphy's going to have a good year, okay?
I want to believe that. I do.
I believe it. I believe it.
I am mortified when I hear the defensive line coach coming out. I think the first quote that we saw was like, yeah, no, Myles can really, really have an impact this year. We just need to clean up his hands and his feet and his positioning and his leverage and his pad level. And I'm like, that's everything. That's
well, other than that, he's fine.
Right. So there was that. And then the other day he was kind of effusing praise for many of the guys and calling out specifically Joseph Osai, and then didn't really name Myles Murphy. And then when asked about him, was kind of like, yeah, big year for him. He's really got to do it this year, doesn't he? So it's just like, oh man, that's not, you want to hear the best shape of your life things. You want to hear the, hey, he's showing flashes that we were expecting, not, yeah, he's really got to get it in gear, doesn't he? And, it's just, you don't want him to be the afterthought, especially when Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart aren't practicing. And you're still not hearing about that. You're hearing about Cam Sample. You're hearing about Joseph Osai. So I'm very worried for what the potential lack of pass rush, the strain that can put on the linebackers, on the secondary. And I'm hopeful that Al Golden and his emphasis on forcing turnovers is going to help compensate for that. But this offense is going to have to be the best version of itself. More of those 30, 25-point games last year and less of the 17-point duds against the Giants where your only touchdown is a 40-yard Joe Burrow scramble.
And that's when we found Joe had some speed, too.
Don't sleep. He got some wheels.
Don't sleep on jackpot, baby. All right, Evan.
21 miles an hour on that run or something like that?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. So he's flying. Evan, you said you give me a half hour. It's 2 minutes past that, so I'll let you go, brother. I enjoy it. Hey, enjoy the new house, and I'll keep keep my prayers for everything else, brother. Take it easy.
I appreciate it, man. Y'all take it easy. Thanks for having me.
See ya.
Have a good one.
All right, Yanni. So, got a couple questions here. Let me. Dustin's got them both. Did you see if now for the bridge? I can't always tell. But did you see if Myles Murphy was lined up on the right or left in OTAs? Did you pay attention to that?
Hold on, let me make sure that I'm that I have my sides right.
You're right, left, yeah.
He was on the left, and
Okay.
Joseph Osai was rushing from the right side when they were going against the offensive line.
Okay. Now,
So-
what have you? What is your take on Myles? I'm a little more optimistic than Evan is. I think the chains have been taken off of him. I think he's going to have an impact this year. I think him, Osai, and hopefully Stewart, whenever he gets in the camp, are going to have impacts this year, along with Trey when he gets here. But what's your thoughts on Myles Murphy?
So I'm not as against it. I will say throughout minicamp and OTAs, I mean, it's not really, you're not doing much. You're just
Right.
you're in just a helmet. I mean, when he's hitting the bags, like he looks like he's got good speed. He looks explosive. What that's going to look like when he's going up against a real offensive lineman for real,
Mhm.
that's still to be determined in the next month. But in terms of just straight workout, he looks fine to me. I will say Joseph Osai, that's probably been my favorite player that I've watched throughout this first 2 months of offseason workouts. Always kind of caught my eye on the field throughout everything.
Right.
And that's not a knock on Myles Murphy. It's just, I think Osai has taken a huge stride. And
yeah.
honestly, if they had not picked an edge in the first round, I think and Trey Hendrickson was actually practicing right now, I would feel pretty comfortable going into the year with Trey Hendrickson and Joseph Osai as my two starting edge rushers. I feel less comfortable as Joseph Osai as my number one edge rusher, but I think he's in line to be a good starter this season.
Mhm.
It would just be I'd feel a lot better if Trey Hendrickson was out there, and
We all would.
even better if Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, and Joseph Osai was out there. But
Yeah.
long answer short, Miles Murphy was going on the left side and Osai from the right.
Now, one thing I want to talk about, he brought up Taj Brooks, and you mean you're talking about him on the phone the other day. I love that pick, and I think it was Trags or Skinny, because I think Skinny was on Trags' podcast, and I didn't see this, but one of them brought up the cut that Taj made in one of the drills where it looked like why can't I think of our old running back? Mixon. Look like a Mixon move. And then somebody brought it up to him, in the locker room, and he's like, "Yeah, that's where I got it from. I saw him make that move in the film room." And to me, that's amazing. If he's already making cuts in minicamp like Joe Mixon did, that's a great sign. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not, if you saw it or not. But
I don't know the exact play, but I mean, I'm telling you, just watching them as they're going through the bags, doing agility drills, cutting. I mean, he looks like a starting caliber running back. I don't know how he's going to read a hole in the National Football League, but in off-season workouts, he looks like that guy. Like I'm excited to see that.
The one thing I like too is one of the knocks on Mixon was he wasn't a very good pass blocker. All three of these guys, from what I understand, I know Samaje is. All three of them are really good pass blockers. So they're going to be able to disguise stuff. Just because you put one of the running backs in doesn't mean he's in. They're going to run the ball because he's not a very good pass blocker. They all supposedly are very good pass blocker. I think that even elevates the offense even more there.
Absolutely, that was the big thing on Taj's draft profile is excellent in pass blocking. And I think the Bengals picked him. I don't want to say that they picked him for that, but I think anything they get beyond great pass blocking right now is just an extra added bonus for them. And I think he's gonna not win a job because Chase Brown is sure in a way the number one.
By the end of the year, he'll probably be our number 2 back, I think.
Yeah, but I think he's going to turn some heads once training camp starts and everyone's in the practices and they're watching and they're going to be like, who is this 25? We have something here.
He looks pretty good. Now, Dustin brought this up too, and I want to talk about this too, the tight ends. He said people laugh at me. I think Cam Grandy is going to evolve his role even more in the run game this year. Excited to see his blocking on display. What's your thoughts on him?
Well, I'm just going to start off and say shout out to Cam Grandy with the walk-off grand slam in the Logan Wilson softball game.
Saw that. I think
that was electric. But yeah, I think if they can get, and they ran it at times last year when Eric All was healthy.
That's going to hurt us not having him.
That 2 tight end set.
Mm-hmm.
If they can lock that in as well, and Cam Grandy can take those steps, and you have him in there protecting, and even if he's just going out there and he's catching like just the occasional, little quick out, something in the flat, just to bring in some pressure. Like if a defense is going zone or if they're going man, it just takes them down a little bit so they can't sit over the top on a Jamar route across the middle. Just suck a linebacker to not be able to cheat in the middle a little bit and have to worry about him dumping out there. But yeah, his blocking, I think, could be a huge part of that. And they really haven't, I'm trying to think back in the last couple of years, but had a big time pass blocking tight end.
Was it? All was probably our best one. All around. He's been the best all around tight end we've had in the Joe Burrow era. CJ was good, but not. Always he was really good.
And when you have an O-line like what the Bengals have had, to not have a pass blocking tight end, it's just a killer.
Mm-hmm. Drew Sample's a good pass blocking tight end. He's just not a good. He can catch pass, but he's not the pass catcher.
He's not doing anything after the catch,
right? Yeah. He did get the touchdown last year where he ran his. Everyone's wow, you got some wheels there. But that's where I think Cam Grandy. This is a big opportunity for him because he did get a shot at. I'm sure he got snaps, but I don't even know how many snaps he got last year. It could have been that many. But if you can get him and he'll step up and take over for where Eric All was. You had the two tight ends sit with him and Gesicki. That makes the offense that much better. And we have a plethora of offensive weapons. Now let's get to the offensive line. And I told Fairchild this the 2 days I was down at minicamp this week. I said, you got to protect Joe. He's like, absolutely. And he takes this seriously. I mean, I said it's only 2 days of camp. I got to watch him, but I was impressed with it. He was out with the first team the entire time. I saw Cody Ford with the first team a lot on Thursday because I know I always forget. Why do I forget the guy's name from New Orleans that we signed? I always forget.
Oh, Lucas Patrick.
Thank you. But he had a leg sleeve on, didn't he?
Yeah, on the second day,
yeah.
I believe. Yeah, but he was running with the ones for most of the time on Tuesday.
Okay, was he? Okay.
And then Ford was going a little bit more on Wednesday. And I think that's just going to be the battle for that right guard spot. Mm-hmm. And then whoever – see, I would lean to give it to Patrick as of right now in June because I still love being able to have Cody Ford as a plug-and-play anywhere on that offensive line.
I like
He's
that.
Just – I mean – you talk about someone that could make their NFL career last forever because you're just versatile enough to play anywhere on that line. That's just the perfect situation for Ford. And obviously, as a player, he probably wants to be on that starting spot, but just in terms of depth for an offensive line that really needs it, he is just the perfect piece for it.
Now, what about Rivers? Because he is freaking ginormous. I saw it. I didn't remember his number, and then people were talking in the chat. I was like, "What number is Rivers?" Like 74. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I remember him." Now, I think there's a chance, future-wise, hopefully, by the end of the year, we'll see. But I think there's that they would like him to be the future right guard. What's your thoughts on him kicking in the guard?
I will say this. He's, like you said, he's massive.
Mm-hmm.
I almost would rather have someone smaller and shiftier at that guard spot just to be able to pull and leak out of there. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he would be in that situation. I'd have to focus more. I will say, did not watch him too much so far, but I'd have to see how he moves and how he's able to get out of that position and be able to pull over and do all of that. But I mean, he's definitely big enough, to be a starter in the National Football League. You don't have to worry about size. It just might be does he have too much size to play at guard?
Move. Right? Yeah. Can he move laterally quick enough? I mean, I just get excited if you have him and Mims right next to each other. That'd be the wall of Cincinnati. I mean, and then
what was the offensive line a couple of years ago that was just massive? Like, I don't remember what team it was.
The Cowboys?
They were all. I think it was the Cowboys. I think if you had a situation like that, you would be rivaling that Cowboys line from a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I like that part. Now we'll find out if he can move. I know he did play guard because he's played guard and tackle.
He did play both at Miami.
So he can do it. Now, can he do it at the NFL level? I don't know. Like I said, this is something I think future that possibly could happen. We'll see.
I'm gonna make a note of that. Make sure I'm looking out for that at a training camp.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, Ice is right. Look at that. No, I'm so let's just talk about Jackpot Joey here. I think everybody keeps talking about the interception that K-Tail Britt had last week, which is a great interception. Awesome. Not as many people talk about the 70-yard bomb that he threw right after that. He's like, all right, watch this, F you, and just dropped it right in to Chase. And that's minicamp. That's OTAs. And we're going deep. Joe wasn't doing this last year. Joe, they were still coming back from the wrist. I mean, he says, I think somebody asked him, how's the wrist feel? And I think he sounded like, oh, it's fine. It's not up to 100% or whatever he said. I don't remember what he said. Dude, if it's not up to 100%, it's going to be scary when it actually is because I think he's playing at another level right now, just a little bit I've seen him.
And I will, going back to the interception, it's almost, it's the most fun part about, Bengals fans and all that. So I take notes of their 7-on-7s. And so back when they were doing OTAs, we would be at practice once a week. So we only had 2 days over there and then the 3 days of minicamp. But I will say 2 days because on Thursday it was a very shortened 7-on-7. I think Burrow only threw 2 passes in that. So let's go the 4 days, 2 days of OTAs, 2 days of minicamp. One day, the first day, Burrow went 9 for 10. It was rain that day. The only incompletion was a drop ball by T in the rain, wet gloves. So let's leave it at that. The next day, he was 8 for 10. The next week, I should say, at OTAs. A throwaway and a nice breakup were the 2 incompletions. And then 9 for 10, 1 interception to Cam Taylor-Britt. And then the very next play, a deep ball to Jamar Chase. So just quick response. And then this Wednesday, I should say, 9 for 10 again. So he had 5 incompletions in 40 passes, 1 interception, and we're focusing all on the interception by Cam Taylor-Britt, which is awesome because you love seeing Cam Taylor-Britt get an interception, boost the confidence after the year he had last year. But I mean, this offense is going to be scary. And I asked him after, I don't know what day it was. I believe it was Tuesday's practice, the first day of mini camp this week. I told him, because every time I'm doing the notes of his 7-on-7s, it's completion to Mike Gesicki, Andre Yosibosh, Charlie Jones, another one to Charlie Jones in there somewhere, Andre Yosibosh again, Jermaine Burton with a couple, and Jamar and T are getting 1 or 2 in those sessions. So I was like, is this something that going into this year was kind of a target for you to spread the ball even more? Because Jamar and T were 40-something% of the total offensive yards last season, which is a lot. But I mean, they're 2 special talents, but it is a lot. And he kind of said, not really. Like, my goal is to just throw to the open guy, which absolutely, that's how good you are. You can do that. You don't have to worry about him forcing the ball in any situation. He can read a progression. He's not a young quarterback. But I will say, I mean, if that is the goal this year to spread it around and get everyone involved, I mean, I don't know how he doesn't have an MVP year, which I will say again, should have been the MVP last year.
Oh, he should have been. Yes.
I mean, the fact that he wasn't, and you still see the arguments now about who's better, Burrow or Josh Allen, and they say Josh Allen has an MVP and all of that. And it's like, it was universally known that if the Bengals got into the playoffs, Joe Burrow was the unanimous MVP if they made it. So the only reason why he doesn't have the award is because the defense couldn't get a stop in September. I'll still say Joe Burrow is better, the better quarterback.
By far. I mean, I'll just look at the playoffs over victories and everything that he's had over Josh Allen, or we'll put it that way. But yeah, that's the interesting thing. And like we talked about on the phone yesterday, that'd be the maturation of this offense to me is to spread it out even more because you are in Yoshi's 3rd year. Burton hopefully is coming along. You're in the 2nd year of Mike G, and Pitch talked about this. Mike G is built for this offense. I really do think, as far as a pass catching tight end, he's the best one that we've had. You put him in there in the 2nd year, there's nothing to work through. So Joe, like Joe said, Joe says you're a thoroughly open guy. These guys are going to get open, I think, more now than they did last year because they know what Joe's thinking. They're all on the same wavelength, and that's you can't just get that chemistry of just walking off the street. You got to do it from time after time after time of playing games and practicing, and that's where these guys are at. So that's the part where if they spread the ball around even more, this offense, I mean, it's exaggeration, but they score 45 points a game. I mean, they literally could. I don't know if they'll score that many. That's an awful lot. That might be the greatest show of turf numbers there. But that's what we're looking at. And that's where I keep going. Everybody keeps worrying about the defense, which I agree. Like, look, last year, and Yanni, I'll ask you your opinion about this. If Lou had, and it's a bad way to say it, but I don't know how else to say it, dumbed down or whatever he did to the defense to make them play better toward the end of the year. If he had done that a couple weeks earlier, like I don't know, against Pittsburgh, where we gave up 40 points to them, which was a terrible offense. One more game, we could have got one more stop. One, Lou would probably still be here, and two, the Bengals would have made the playoffs. That's the difference, and that's what we're trying to explain to people. Like, that's the difference. We missed about one freaking game. The defense doesn't have to improve that much as good as this offense is. I mean, am I making it too simple?
So I'm not with you on that. I don't think they could have done it last year. I think it was just the matter of, in those last 5 games, they played the Cowboys with the backup quarterback, the Titans. They did play the Steelers, who Russell Wilson made himself look like an all-pro when he played them the first time around, but I think that was just a fluke. I think the real Russell Wilson was what they got the second time around, right. When they played. And then who else did they have in those last 5 games? They had the Steelers, the Titans, the Cowboys.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Did they play the Jaguars in there? No, I think I'm thinking of this year with week.
I honestly, who was the last? Oh, the last game was Denver. They played Denver.
Oh, Denver.
That was one. That was a shootout. They came there. That's a playoff team. They beat them.
Yeah, and the defense did look better in that game. So I don't know. I think
it's one game, Yanni. One freaking game. That's it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I don't know. It's not that simple. Defense has got to play better. I mean, I'm not saying that, they look, I'll put it this way. With TJ, this is where I think the defense is already better now by one move. It's TJ Slayton. I think the run defense is that much better just because of him, because Paul Dehner Jr., and I keep quoting this, but I don't have the numbers. But Paul Dehner Jr. said, go look up the numbers of what Green Bay's run defense was like with TJ Slayton on the field and with him off of the field. I think this moves the Bengals up at least one notch, maybe 2 notches to the run defense. We basically had no run. We had no nose tackle last year. So TJ Slayton is a huge improvement on just a run defense alone. So that's going to prove your defense against the Steelers, against the Browns. I mean, that right there is a huge, and that's underrated. Everybody keeps talking about Trey and Shamar, which, don't get me wrong, we need them. I'm not trying to say we don't, but this is a big move that the Bengals did make that's going to really help this run defense.
Absolutely. I will say, it's just, if you don't have Trey or Shamar, the good that TJ Slayton can do is nullified,
right?
Because the defense is still going to get torn up on that front. But if they have Trey and they have Shamar, or if they have Shamar and Joseph Osai, like TJ Slayton can be an anchor of that defense. And I agree with you. I mean, the few times that I've stood next to him, I'm like, this guy he doesn't look like anyone else on that defensive line. He doesn't, BJ Hill doesn't compare, McKinley Jackson, Chris Jenkins. I mean, they're all beasts, but he looks like something different than them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good thing. I mean, again, we got to get Shamar signed. We got to get Trey. And I'm by no means saying that our defense will be fine without him. Absolutely not. We need to have them. And I'm with you. Joseph Osai, I think it's going to have a good year as long as he continues what he did at the end of last year. Because last year was the first year that he had a fully healthy season in a while. Because I mean, I know you weren't here in 2022 for the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, where everybody remembers the play where Osai hit Mahomes, and Mahomes threw himself out of bounds. I'll just leave it at that.
I was watching on TV, but I wasn't here for that. Yeah.
But before that, Joseph Osai, in my opinion, was the defensive player of the year, or of the game, not the year, of the game, because he was all over the field. That was one of his best defensive games. And then he got hurt on that play, and then he was hurt a lot the whole next season. Last year's first year that he had a fully healthy season. If he stays healthy again, he adds on to that. That's where I get Trey. We get him and Osai. That's your bookend DNs right there to hopefully go get that quarterback. And they got Slayton there, which, like I talk about this, the Chargers game last year. Too many times we had where our guys would rush up. And I just remember the Chargers game where Sherbert, and I call him Sherbert, would run all the way up the middle because Rankins what passed him. TJ Slayton won't do that. He'll hold his his blocks and stay where he's supposed to be. So we keep the quarterbacks in there a little better, which that'll help our defense. Those are things that he does, I think, that we missed out. Because I'm a huge DJ Reader fan. I loved DJ. I wanted them to keep him. That's why I'm so happy we got TJ Slayton, because of what he brings to this defense.
Yeah, and I will say that I'm trying to think of how to word what I'm about to say. Watching them last year, and you brought up Herbert, and it was every game, it seemed like, just zero contain.
Yes.
From the end.
Mm-hmm.
And when you play guys like Lamar, you saw him just be able to break out all the time. Anytime when you did have good coverage for once in a blue moon
mm-hmm.
in the secondary, you're beat because nobody holds contained to keep the quarterback in the pocket, be able to get any pressure, and they're able to break out on that. And I think Al Golden, and we were talking about this yesterday, about just the drilling tackling and yes. wrapping up that they've been doing. And there's also been a lot with the defensive line and Coach Montgomery about they're not really doing contain drills. You know, you don't do that, but you are seeing him, call a play back and point and tell them, where to go in this situation and stuff like that. So watching that, it's like, I remember so many times last year where it's like 4 seconds after the snap, and then quarterback is able to slip out, a scramble, a throw, an open man, or just a run, and it just burned the Bengals. And there were a lot of times, I think, I have to look this up to confirm, but I remember there was a stat that I saw last year about the 3rd and 7+ Bengals defense being bottom 3 in the league, if not the worst.
Couldn't get off the field. We couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, and that's just the straight contain. And honestly, they were in so many 3rd and 7+ positions where the defense was bad last year. There's no way to put it, no other way to put it. But they were getting stops on 1st and 2nd down, a lot of drives, and then they would just break in 3rd and long. And that's where I think they needed to change with Lou Anarumo to go out, because I think if you're able to get a stop on 1st and 2nd down, and you can't get off the field on 3rd down, it's a scheme purpose that's holding you back. It's not really the players. It's just the wrong blitz being drawn up on 3rd and long, or the wrong coverage on the field, or anything like that. I don't think it's a fact of the players. So I think a fresh face in Al Golden coming in this year, even if you were to run back the same defense that you had last year and everyone was back, I think you would be at least 20th in the National Football League with that.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to go back to the comments here, because somebody made a really good point about Vic Fangio, of what a difference he made in Denver's defense, that he basically had the same defense. I can't find it in here who said it, but that is true. And I've talked about this on the show. They're putting all their eggs in one basket for 2 guys, for the offensive line coach and the defensive coordinator. But it can't, and it's not like they don't have talent on this defense side of the ball. They got a whole bunch of first rounders and second round picks on there. I mean, what is it? 3 out of our last 4 first round picks have been on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not like these guys don't know how to play. I mean, they know how to play. It's just you got to get them out of them or get them in the right scheme. And that's where I like what I've seen from Golden. The more, like you're just saying, the more hands on, where I think it sometimes, coaches just run their course. You hear the same thing over and over again. And, okay, well, not in one ear out the other, but a new voice, a new way of doing things, I think they makes a bigger impact sometimes than people realize, especially when you do have talented players. So a defense coordinator can change a defense, even though it's basically the same defense as we had last year, even though Duke said he didn't want to have the same team that he had last year, but we basically did. But we'll see. I'm excited about what Al Golden could do. Another thing I thought was cool, I can't remember who said this, but they said he's like a head coach already, which, I mean, he's been a head coach in college. And this is his background, is developing young talents. What he does. Look what he did at Notre Dame. So this is all right up his alley to develop these guys. So when I say the defense doesn't have to get that much better, I mean, they do have to get, I mean, we're what, 32nd last year, I think, in total defense, or 31st, somewhere around. I mean, we're at the bottom. Yeah, you need to come up to 15 or 16 is a big jump. If you're coming up to that high, it's a big jump to get there. I think they can do it, but we'll see what happens. And we got to find out what's going on with Trey, if he can come in or not. And I know he can come in. It's just frustrating with this whole thing. We'll see what happens. I don't know. You've been on for 59 minutes, Johnny. I appreciate it. Now you've been totally broken in. You saw the intro. You know what you're getting into this time. Because full disclosure, if you guys missed the beginning of the show last year, Kevin Barnett, who's the executive producer at Local 12, texted me and said, "Hey, you want to get my boy Yanni on?" I'm like, "Sure. Who the hell's Yanni?" Yeah, he's a new sports guy. I said, "All right." So I was already on live. I think my guest had canceled that day, and you were out somewhere doing a story, and you jumped on the phone and kind of like, what's going on?
I think I was at a high school football game. I think it was a Friday night. Something about Fridays coming on Fridays. And yeah, I had no idea what I was calling into. I just gave me. I think he gave you my number, and I just got a text from a random number saying, "Here's the link to join." And I'm like, "What am I about to click on right now? Is my phone gonna get hacked when I press on this link?" And then I open it up, and I just see this, and I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
Well, this time you actually get your own intro and everything. So
yeah, that was awesome. I wasn't on camera for that, but I was sitting back like, okay.
You're moving up in the world. You move up in the world. So tell everybody what you guys got coming up on Local. And I have a question: are you guys ever going to get a Sunday night sportscast back? Because I miss that.
We'll see. That hopefully maybe we'll get something in the works, and we'll see if that can come back. That would be a great thing to have. But yeah, in terms of what we got coming up, Club World Cup starting up. We're going to have some coverage with that, and then starting beginning of July, going to want to be tuning in for some sit downs with some of the Bengals that we had. We shot them in over OTAs, and we're going to have those leading up to training camp starting, just kind of getting to know some guys off the field, personality wise, who they are off the field. So, we did some interviews, and we're going to have that leading up to camp, give you a little look inside the players and who they are. I think it's going to be really cool. There are a lot of great personalities on this team, and I think that's going to be a good one that people will like.
Oh, I'm totally looking forward to it. Hey, were you down there when Peyton Manning was down there doing Peyton's Places?
No, so they did that the day. They have they have days where media can be at practice and things like that, and they did that on one of the days that we weren't there. I was like, I saw the pictures on social media. I was like, man, that would have been great. Because I mean, cool. I'm from Boston originally, so right. Patriots fan. We beat Peyton Manning a lot in my childhood.
You did.
Would have loved to get to meet him.
See, this is what's cool. See, this is why I think the Bengals are going to go win a couple Super Bowls. We got you growing up a Patriots fan covering the Bengals now. We got Trags, Mike Petralia, who covered the Patriots during that. So we got two. Well, Trags from here, but we got two guys who one grew up in Boston, the other one covered them during that. So you guys just bring all the good luck here that will go on our Super Bowl run this year.
Hey, it's been what now? A year exactly since the last time one of my teams won a championship in the Celtics. I mean, it's been a while for me, so I need the Bengals.
Oh, you poor thing! I feel so bad for you, Yanni.
I need the Bengals to win one so that I can experience a championship again, because the Patriots aren't getting it anytime soon. So I need the Bengals to get this going this year, and we can enjoy that. And I mean, I can't even imagine what Cincinnati would be like for a parade. That would be insane.
All right, I'll tell you this. So when they went to the Super Bowl in 21, the Banks, after I watched the game, I went down to the Banks. The Banks was freaking nuts. It was, I would never forget. It was so much info. I'm hugging people I don't even know. We're like, the Bengals won. Like, yeah, everyone's Super Bowl. It was, I mean, I don't want to say when they win one, because they're going to win one in my lifetime. I'm 50 years old. I haven't seen them win one yet. It's going to happen. I watched them lose all three of them. I'm due to see them win one. The only team that I've seen win anything is the Reds, and that was in 1990. I was 15 now. I was alive in 75 and 76, but I was born in 75, so I don't remember those. So I count the 1990. That's the only team I've ever seen in my lifetime in my hometown win a championship. So the Bengals have got to get it done, and that's why we get so frustrated with we wish the Bengals. It feels like the Bengals ownership don't realize what they have. And you're nickel and diming Stewart, and you're nickel and diming Trey. Like, just get him in here, man. Let's go win this thing. We want it so bad, but yeah, Cincinnati's going to go nuts when this happens. Yanni,
I even a Reds playoff game, like just to see that, like
my kids have never seen them win a playoff series. It was 1995. I could go to how old I was 20.
I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and the intro, the broadcast intro when the Reds were playing in the 2013 NLDS came on, and it was, it opened and it showed the banks just like flooded with fans, and then inside everyone waving the towels. I'm like, I need to experience that.
Dude, honestly, when we're going to make the playoffs this year for the Bengals. I like that experience alone. It's awesome. When Jermaine Pratt, who the Bengals just released, when he intercepted Carr in the Raiders game and we won our first playoff game in 30 years, there were grown men, and I'm one of them, that was crying in the stadium. I was so happy that we won because we went through so many heartbreaking losses in the playoffs, and it was unbelievable experience. I don't want to go through it again. Next time I want to cry for a win is a Super Bowl. So, Yanni, I'm sure Boston's got the duck boats and everything, and I have no idea what our championship parade would look like because I've never seen one. I don't think they did one in 1990. I don't remember. I know that we went to Fountain Square and they had the World Championship there, but I don't remember them actually doing a parade. So I have no idea.
It would probably kind of be like the opening day parade, except it would go to Paycor instead of going left to Great American, right? Or
maybe they take part of what the New England does and go in the river for a little bit and come back around.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, get on one of the riverboat cruise ships and just everyone's over there and fans on each side. That would be awesome.
Exactly. Well, if you ever need anybody help covering that championship parade and giving them access, just call me.
Absolutely. First call on the phone.
Yes, I love it. All right, Yanni, man. Hey, tell everybody your Twitter so they can follow you on there too.
It's just the name that you see right there, at Yanni Tragellis, except one word, no space. And absolutely, we're gonna have a lot of content coming out, especially with training camp, and then during the season, covering the game. So yeah, definitely the spot you want to go to see what's going on.
Exactly, and you guys got the most Bengals
other than here, other than the show.
Of course, yeah, duh. Come here first, and then you guys got the most Bengals games on your network as well. Too,
I think we got 9 right now, and then 2 are still TBD at the end of the season. So could have some double-digit games. So I mean,
who's got the Super Bowl this year? Does ABC have it, or
I think this year is NBC.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Because last year was Fox, right? Yeah, last year was Fox. This past February.
Right.
So yeah, it's NBC this year, and then CBS next year. Then I think is ABC getting in the works? ABC and ESPN. I think they're.
It might be. I don't know.
I think I remember seeing something about that in the next contract or something like that.
Well, one of these times when the Bengals go on this multiple Super Bowl run, you guys are going to have it on your network.
Was it on Local 12 and 21? Yeah, it would have been. Yeah,
I think it was actually.
Because then 24 would have been.
No, it wasn't. No, it was on NBC because it was Collinsworth. Collinsworth did.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's on NBC this year, so maybe there's a trend to see when the Bengals make the Super Bowl.
I like what you're thinking. All right, I gotta get who's your other? I can forget his name. The other sportscaster on Channel 12. What's his name?
Right now, I'm solo.
You're solo? Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought you had somebody else. Oh, yeah, never mind. What do I know? Anyway, well, you need to hire another guy so I can get him on here too.
Are you you have an application that you wanna send?
Sure, yes. Yeah. Tell me who to send it to, and I'll send them my tape. Yeah, I got my air check tape here for.
I'll send you the details.
Yeah, I actually went to radio broadcasting school, believe it or not, 30 years ago. So I got a broadcasting license and everything.
Perfect.
All right, Yanni, man, it's been fun. Appreciate it. We'll have to get you on again, and I'm glad you know what show you're on now.
Absolutely.
All right, Yanni, take it easy, brother.
Thanks. Have a good one.
See ya. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Yanni is awesome. Go make sure you guys follow him on Local 12. And he is the sports department at Local 12. Him and Skinny I know Skinny's there. I thought they had somebody else, but I didn't. I was wrong. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys, I would love. Does anybody know where we can watch the Bananas game tonight? Is anybody live streaming it? I mean, if you're at the game, get your phone out, live stream. You know, that would be cool because I really wanted to see this, but I couldn't get tickets. We tried to get tickets. You actually had to get in a lottery to be chosen to have a chance to get tickets. That's how hard it was to get these tickets, and we never got them. But Bronson's going to be there tonight. Tonight, I think tonight and Saturday. I know it's tonight for sure. I can't remember what he said the other day. But Bronson Roy will be there singing a song, try to get them to do a dance. Like I said, I think the Bananas is the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. I think they're awesome. I would love to watch it, but for all of you that are going down there to watch it, have an absolute blast. I'm looking at my window right now. It looks like the sun is shining. I don't see a cloud in the sky, so maybe that means they're going to have some good weather for the Bananas tonight. Reds take on Detroit. Yeah, Detroit. So, which they might have already started. I'm going to get off here and go watch that. Other than that, thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch. You can follow me on all those along Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. I will be pulling off the Saturday later on tonight, putting on the podcast. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a comment and a 5-star review so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. Share it out. Hit the thumbs up on the show, too. Shout out to my sponsors of the show. And they are as followed. Priority Lawn and Landscape. Like I said, the sun is shining. I went golfing today, saw some pretty green grass. Like, man, I want to get my yard looking like that. You know who I think can get that done for me? Priority Lawn and Landscaping. You know, if you're just a do-it-yourselfer and you want to get your own mulch or your own rock or anything like that, and go down to Priority Lawn and Landscaping shop and get it right there. If you want shrubbery done, shrubbery planted, shrubbery trimmed, paper patio done, a fountain put in, anything like that, think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Don't think it. Call them at 513-430-6114. That's 513-430-6114. You can also follow them on Facebook. Follow them on Facebook because they show a lot of videos and stuff of the work that they had done. Now, if you call them or you message them on Facebook, tell them you heard about them from Sports with Strawberry Ice. Also, the show is brought to you by T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And, of course, Meyer Windows and Window Doors and more. Check them out at MeyerCincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. I always say this. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're easy to clean, energy efficient, great looking windows. I also shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. There's a chance we might be doing some stuff with Moorline again. We'll have to wait and see. But I hope to be there again this year. If you guys missed it, go down there every Thursday. It's an awesome. They have awesome music. They have Rocket on the Roebling. I was there last night. Delicious beer, delicious food, awesome music. Pull a lawn chair up, chill out in the awesome summertime weather for Cincinnati. Moorline Lager House. All right, boys and girls, that is it for me. You guys have a wonderful time. I'll be back Monday. Bengals Captain will be on. I also hope that Corey will be on. We'll see. I hope I'll reach out to him again. Hope I get the legendary clock killing Corey Dillon back on. But always remember this: Who Day for life. And throw it up. That's your sports, baby. See ya!
Weekday nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with Strawberry Ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry Ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry Ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry Ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's good to like.